Hello and welcome to BCC Virtual Racing. Tonight's course, the Greater London Flat Route, 41 kilometres long, a 5.7 kilometre lead in and 3 laps of 11.6 kilometres. Only 12 riders from BCC tonight, but worth watching. An interesting race. We have 2 disqualifications and a commissaire's inquiry over a technical issue. Joining the riders in the start pen, let's have a look at some of the key competition in tonight's race. Lancia riding for the A's again tonight, but he is the only rider in category A, so will he go for an easy win? Either way, I think he'll need to watch out for Davis, who has been riding very well recently. Mayhew Smith is back for the Bs, and he'll be hoping that he won't get disqualified yet again by Zwift power. In the Cs, it looks as if Stoneham is on holiday, so no repeat of the ongoing battle between him and Collier. Collier's closest competition tonight will be Nixon, though he has beaten him 4 times over the last 4 races. A huge surprise to see Campbell entered in the Cs. I'm not sure if that's just a mistake on his part, clicking the wrong button, or perhaps he thinks racing in the Bs is just a little bit too much for him. And finally, I just hope Jury can keep it all under control this time round and not go too fast too soon. 10 seconds before the start with riders in Pen D. Riders are starting at 1 minute intervals this evening. And they are off. One rider left behind at the start as usual. And first rider up on screen tonight is Jury. Riding well now, of course. Along with the other category B riders. I expect them to stay together for a while yet. Mayhew Smith up the front, and we join Lancia in the A's, currently in 7th position. I'm sure he'll be hoping that he can hold that, though over a minute back at the moment due to the staggered start times. Here is Davis. I think this will be Lancia's main competition this evening. And here is Campbell riding with the C's along with Nixon, Collier and Jones. Even at only half a kilometre into the race when the pace is quite high, he is looking fairly comfortable at the moment, certainly below the normal power output I'd expect to see from him in this group of a whole collection of BCC riders there. In fact, Collier as well, and Jones, and just drifting off the back, Littlewood. I'm going to keep a close eye on Jury this evening. Here he is up the front, up the front of the B group along with Davis, Mayhew Smith, Shannon. I'm not convinced that is a pace that he will continue to hold throughout this race, but it is a small field tonight, so he may not have many other options open to him. Taff and O'Brien currently in this group as well, with Taff leading O'Brien, with Shannon for the first time in the race this evening at 11.3 kilometres. A rider that has been riding very well recently. Power seems to be going up and performance is increasing with that. But is that Lancia I see just ahead of him? That's a surprise. We'll come back to that later. Campbell riding with the C's. I certainly expect him to pull away from this group at some point during the race, certainly within the next few kilometres. The race is beginning to spread out. Littlewood and Jones have now dropped away from their fellow C riders by some 2 minutes. Jury still in there. This is the point in the race where riders are coming up Piccadilly underpass. It normally stretches them out a bit. Davis unusually on the front of the group. He doesn't like to be there, but perhaps he has a different strategy running this evening. No sign of Lancia. I'm not sure where he is at the moment. I will see if I can try and find him. At 13.3 kilometres, Jones and Littlewood still together. I expect they will stay close to each other for the duration of this race. And Mr. Too Fast Too Soon has done it yet again. He has dropped 45 seconds behind the group he was riding with. Now he has some difficult decisions to make, and here is that group: Mayhew Smith, Davis, Shannon, and I'm sure O'Brien and Taff in there as well, though I can't see them just at the moment. Just another quick look at Jury all by himself, using a power up, drafting one, which of course has no effect when you're by yourself. This is the Campbell-led group behind Jury. Only a minute's gap at the moment. I expect those two will come together within the next couple of kilometres or so. leading group now approaching halfway. Lancier is in there somewhere, so he's dropped off the A's. Maybe he just didn't like riding by himself, I'm not quite sure. Just keeping an eye on Jury, who has now drifted further back. The chasing group of C riders only 18 seconds behind him at this stage, and he has now fallen 2.5 minutes behind the group that he was with. And here is that group chasing down Jury. They can see him just up ahead on the road. That's him 2-3 riders in front. Collier seems to be riding very well this evening. Signs that Nixon's just beginning to drift off the back slightly. Campbell as well, but I suspect with him that's just a temporary thing. Jones and Littlewood still together at 21.1 kilometres with the C group and Nixon, and the first signs that Nixon is finding the pace a little high. This group's beginning to spread out now. Campbell and Collier leading a bit of a charge from the front, pulling away by 2-3 seconds. They've swept up Jury as well. Yes, and here it is. Nixon is definitely dropping off now. He's making a push though to try and get back on. And another surprise in this evening's race, Taff has lost the group that he was riding with. They are now 16-17 seconds ahead. In fact, that group seems to be splintering a little bit as well, with Lancey and Davis pulling away from O'Brien and Shannon. And here are O'Brien, Shannon and Mayhew Smith about 10 seconds behind this rider, Lancier, with only 12-13 kilometres to go. It looks as if Lancier and Davis are beginning to push, trying to separate themselves from the riders behind them. Collier, Campbell, O'Brien and Jury in this group as well. I hope he can hold on with the C's. Nixon some 40 seconds off the group he was with. His job is now done. I expect he'll just try and get round this course as smoothly as he can. The same position for Taff at 30.3 kilometres. Still riding well together, Littlewood and Jones at 29.9 kilometres. We'll stay with these riders to the finish, about 800 metres to go as they turn right around Trafalgar Square, pass under Admiralty Arch, and they will see the finish line straight in front of them. It doesn't look that far, but it's further than you think. Lancier leading this sprint now. In fact, it's really too early to sprint, but they're upping the pace. Davis sitting there comfortably watching. All the available power-ups have now come out. Lancier in the red, Davis in the red, both pushing hard for the finish. It looks as if Lancier and Davis perhaps have sprinted a little bit too early. Power's beginning to drop off for both riders. Not sure who's in the front at the moment. Looks like Davis has maybe pulled slightly ahead, and yes, he crosses the line just ahead of Lancier. Shannon, O'Brien and Mayhew Smith round the corner at Trafalgar Square. They now have the finish line in their sights, about 500 metres away. Mayhew Smith currently in the front, followed by O'Brien and then Shannon. Which rider's going to go first? Sensibly they're holding on just for the moment. With about 200 metres to go, it looks as if Shannon's winding it up first. This could be a perfectly timed sprint. All the power-ups are out. He is pulling ahead. Yes, he's going to cross the line first, followed by Mayhew Smith and O'Brien. Taff now crossing the line in 1 hour, in 1 minute and 22 seconds. Jury, Campbell and Collier heading for the finish line using their saved up power-ups. Jury out front probably thinks he can win something here. No, he's falling off rapidly. The others are winding it up, pushing out more power. He drops to second. Campbell out front, there's no stopping him now. And Collier makes a final push just across Jury on the line. And with Nixon, even though by himself, makes a final sprint for the finish, crossing about 2 minutes behind the group ahead of him. With Littlewood and Jones now, this turned out to be one of the most interesting battles of the evening. Littlewood pulled some 10 seconds ahead of Jones, but Jones doesn't give up. He takes a minute or two to recover, then makes a great effort up the Piccadilly underpass, catches up with Littlewood, who's sort of having a drink of water at this stage. It looks as if that huge effort that Jones made was perhaps a little bit too much for him, and within a minute or so Littlewood pulls away again, gaining 10 seconds, riding at 1.4 watts per kilo. It looks as if Jones's race is over and he just sits back and relaxes, but it isn't yet. Jones makes another great attack, and just as they turn under Admiralty Arch, he catches up with Littlewood yet again. Now you can see the finish ahead. He's probably feeling quite good, moves to the front. I don't think there's anything Littlewood can do to respond at all, and in fact Jones pulls away quite comfortably at this stage. Jones putting out over double the power of Littlewood. From being over 10 seconds behind Littlewood twice in the last few kilometres, he manages to finish some 4 seconds ahead of him. A great racing. So as we join Littlewood on his cool down, let's have a look at the results for this evening's race. Davis has the overall win, beating Lance here, but a steward's inquiry has opened for his use of a disc wheel, which we believe is illegal in road races. Shannon, I think, has a great performance tonight, riding well above where he normally does. It may come as no surprise that Mayhew Smith was disqualified yet again, and the other disqualification this evening was Campbell for riding in the C's when he normally rides in the B's. A great performance from Collier, finishing ahead of a couple of the B's. A special mention to Jury, again too fast too soon. He must learn that at some point during these races. And performance of the evening goes to Jones for a continued attack on Littlewood. So that's all for this evening's race, and next race is on Thursday evening, which is the last race of the current season. Thank you for watching.